Respected comrades, friends, the battle of India, the battle for India has become very intense. I mean, the battle of idea of India, the battle for the idea of India has become very intense in the post-independent India today. Some days back, I addressed a campaign which was for, and that campaign continues, for reclaiming the Republic. Now the present campaign is for reimagining India. So what is that India we want to reimagine or imagine? I was General Secretary of All India Youth Federation from 1985 to 1990. I worked from Delhi, the national capital, traveling all over the country. During that period, we organized a long march from Kanyakumari to Delhi, from Manipur to Delhi, from Usainiwala to Delhi, from Kashmir to Delhi. The slogan of that march was Save India and Change India. How to change, how to save, these are questions before us. When we say save India, from whom India should be saved? Change India, how to change India for a better future? We tried our best to mobilize the young generation, the youth and students and people at large on this clarion call, Save India, Change India. That was the time the neoliberal economic policies were introduced and the government started implementing. That was the time the question of reservation became very sharp, and the Mandal Commission report was taken up for debate across the country and by the government for implementation. That was the time the communal fascist forces, the Hindutva forces, intensified their campaign on Mandir. So it was the time people described as a period of struggle between Mandal and Kamandal. So our youth federation, we organized Save India, Change India. This is an issue which was addressed by the freedom fighters. And in the post-independent India, starting from Dr. Ambedkar, Jawaharlal Nehru, and any number of communists, they tried to imagine what India should be, how India should be. During the debates in the Constituent Assembly, the Hindutva forces pressurized Dr. Ambedkar to declare India as a Hindu-Rastra. Ambedkar, in his vision, emphatically rejected that theocratic idea of India. Ambedkar made it clear, if at all India should emerge as an independent country, India should emerge as a democratic republic. Ambedkar pointed out If at all Hindu-Rastra becomes a fact, becomes a reality, that will be the biggest disaster for the country. Ambedkar rejected theocratic state. Then Ambedkar made it clear in the post-independent India what should be the state, the character of the state. The constitution makes it clear Indian state should be a secular state. Indian state should remain above all religions, neutral to all religions, maintaining the harmony among all sections of the people. Indian state should be a welfare state. That's what Dr. Ambedkar emphasized. Indian state should be a welfare state. The state should ensure all means of livelihood to all its citizens, men, women. For that, what state should do? State should see wealth is not concentrated in the hands of a few people. Means of productions are not concentrated in the hands of a few people, and people should have access to education, employment, housing, and people should have the right to live, not only to live with dignity. This is how Dr. Ambedkar defined what Indian state should be. Today, what is happening? The battle between two visions has become very intensive, and one vision presented by the BJP RSS combined. Through that vision, the BJP RSS combined is trying to hijack the thinking of the people. Now it is very big irony in history. The RSS was formed in the year 1925. That was the year my party, the Communist Party of India, was also formed. The Communist Party of India made supreme sacrifices for winning the independence from British Raj, and RSS had no role at all in the freedom movement. But today, the RSS, BJP, which is a political wing of the RSS, have come to power. RSS has an ideology that is sectarian, divisive, communal, fascist ideology, and the BJP government acts on the basis of this ideology. And what do they say? What is this ideology? We should try to understand. The RSS tries to impose Hindutva agenda, thereby to impose a monolithic, illiberal, medieval socio-political order on the people of our country. And that is one vision. The other vision, India should remain a secular democratic republic. India is a country with tremendous diversities. These diversities must be acknowledged, must be recognized, and India has got number of languages which are very ancient languages, which have become modern languages, and we must be proud that India has such number of languages. We have great cultural histories from different parts of the country, and all these things should be respected. India should remain and emerge as a secular democratic republic. And today the struggle is between two visions. One is to safeguard the secular democratic republican vision of India, republican character of our constitution. On the other side, it is Hindutva based, theocratic, monolithic India, and dictatorial, authoritarian, the state rule this is where we find the struggle is getting more and more very intense, and one has to carry forward this struggle. And as far as Communist Party of India, we have been in the midst of these struggles. These struggles are ideological struggles, political struggles, and electoral struggles we should keep in mind. And we have been fighting, and in fact, we have been trying to unite all secular democratic forces in this struggle against communal fascists. Now look at the present government headed by BJP RSS combined. On one side, they try to impose their Hindutva agenda in every sphere of our social life. Look at the way they try to change the education, character of education. Look at the way they try to change all social policies in our country. That is where our struggle has become very intensive. We should be very clear whom to fight to save India. Today it is RSS, BJP combined. They try to redefine India on the basis of their Hindutva ideology. They try to subvert the Indian constitution, which is a republican constitution. They want to build a theocratic, authoritarian rule, and they want to carry forward India as they like. That is why on one side we find the present government headed by Mr. Modi is acting with such a determination, commitment to serve the interests of international finance capital, the corporate crony capitalists. On the other side, they encourage all communal fascist movements in our country. What we witness today is nothing but crony corporate capitalism and the authoritarian fascism. These are represented by RSS, BJP combined. This vision of India presented by RSS, BJP combined should be rejected emphatically. And it is not vision at all, but they think that is the vision India needs. On the other side, we should present our vision of India, our alternate vision of India to BJP's vision. What India should be? India should be a democracy. People should have access to education, employment, housing, and people should feel they live in a free country. They have the right to lead a life with dignity. One may call it socialism, one may call it a welfare social system. Whatever may be, people should have their access to their wealth of the nation, because the wealth of the nation is created by working people, and they should have the access how this wealth should be utilized for the welfare of the all sections of our people. Today in India, as far as my party is concerned, I am concerned, India has three fundamental issues, challenges. One, the caste discrimination, social discrimination. The other one, class, the class exploitation, the perpetuation of looting the surplus value created by the toiling masses, working people. The third one is patriarchy. Women are not given equal rights. They are not treated as equal to men. The oppression of women continues. So I think the time has come. The so-called progressive forces, the democratic forces, the revolutionary forces must take up these issues. How to fight caste. In India, caste is a problem, and it is one of the fundamental issues. It is not just something on the superstructure. It is part of the basis also in society. We should understand. It is Dr. Ambedkar said, wherever you go, the monster of caste crosses your way. You may talk of political reform, you may talk of economic reform. Unless you kill that monster, no progress, no change. So caste is such a problem, and communists will have to address this problem, social discrimination, caste. Then how can we talk about social justice? How can you talk about social justice? The constitution is very clear. We, the people of India. It is constitution doesn't say we the Hindus or we the Brahmins, we the Muslims or we the Sudras. No. Constitution says we the people. We will strive for what? Justice. Social, political and economic. How to win this justice? How to establish this justice? Even I can go to the extent of saying, we keep talking about revolution. Inqulab Zindabad. What is Inqulab India? What is revolution in India? We will have to fight against social discrimination, caste discrimination. We will have to fight against economic exploitation. Economic exploitation. We will have to intensify class struggle. And we will have to fight against patriarchy. Then only we can accomplish revolution. We can mobilize people. These three issues must be addressed by all revolutionary secular forces. We will have to fight against caste discrimination for social justice. We will have to fight against economic exploitation for liberating the working people from loot of their surplus labor and surplus value. And we will have to fight against patriarchy. Unless we do this, we cannot have a new India. We cannot have an India which we try to imagine. I try to imagine my India to be free from social discrimination, free from economic exploitation, free from patriarchy. That is the India I imagine. Always I visualize. My vision is in such a way. So this is not something new. I am from Tamil Nadu. It is Thiruvalluvar who said, Prapokkum ella uyirkum. Birth is the same for all living creatures. But how come these human beings are divided in the name of caste, in the name of religion, even in the name of class? Why these divisions should exist? And these divisions should be removed. And there again I quote, many people used to talk about Begumpura. And now, whether you talk about Begumpura or not, all human beings should be treated as equal human beings, and they must be respected, and they must have all access. So, if at all such thing happens, we cannot have a new India. That new India must be a prosperous India. That new India is an India in which people live in happiness. People do not have hatred towards other fellow citizens, and people have love and compassion for each other. And we take pride of referring to Buddha. Yes, Buddha was great and he continues to be great. But what lesson we learned from Buddha? It is Buddha who said there should be love and compassion among the people. Nobody should be greedy, looting or taking away everything for their consumption or for their living, and leaving others in poverty, in misery. So let us understand our own Buddha. People should have love and compassion for each other. That is the India we imagine, where people will live as equal citizens. People will have equal concern for each other, and people will have love and affection for each other, compassion for each other. So we are trying to build such an India. When I say save India from these communal fascist forces, save India from these crony capitalist corporate houses looting the country. Change India. When we reimagine India, a new India, we should also understand in our struggle for such a new India, we find Marx, Ambedkar coming closer. We find communists, Ayyankali Sri Narayan Guru, communists, E.V. Ramasamy Periyar in Tamil Nadu. All these great fighters come together, and ideologically it has become necessary. And the communists, Marxists, Ambedkarites must come together. The communists, Marxists and Periyarists must come together. Ideologically, we should build a strong, united fight against the Hindutva ideology, the fascist ideology of RSS, BJP. And we all should strive for protecting the country's wealth in the given situation, to protect the public sector, fighting against the privatization, fighting against the foreign capital, direct investments and international finance capital. And in the given situation, we should fight for the rights of women in all walks of life. That will pave the ground for a new India, which we all imagine. And as communist, I think India will emerge and should emerge as a socialist India. When we talk of socialism, that will be with Indian characteristics. Indian characteristics. We cannot think of other roads, other models. India will have its own road to socialism. India will have its own path to socialism. And Marxism should be applied to the local conditions, concrete conditions of our country. What are those concrete conditions? That is what I reflected: the caste, class and patriarchy, and how to change this and how to take the country forward towards socialism. So socialism with Indian characteristics, that must be our understanding. And here the communists have a special role to work with other secular democratic forces and unite them and take them along with in the common struggle against communal fascists, in the common struggle against BJP, RSS. That will be the ground for our imagining or reimagining a new India with a new vision. Thank you very much.